trading company, ITTC. It was through a competitive process that we selected Tele1 as an original equipment manufacturer. They are represented here today by the Chief Executive, Mr. Ranhao Lin. Where's Ranhao? Mr. Ranhao Lin, who was flown in from China to be here for this event. The 12 months have seen the joint venture partners undertake a collaborative and intricate process from the design of the factory, reviewing device specifications, legal and legislative reviews, the procurement of equipment, the hiring and training of over 300 Kenyans, some of whom, Your Excellency, you met during the tour, the construction and engineering works, all needed to bring this factory to life. Your Excellency, your government has been very supportive throughout the execution of this vision. The Cabinet Secretary for ICT and Digital Economy, Eliud Awalo, his senior team, as well as seniors from the Communications Authority, have visited this site many times. Though I do suspect that when CS Awalo first came here on the 28th of June and found 6 large empty warehouses, he may have had some concerns about whether or not we'd be able to deliver the project. In addition to the ICT Ministry, this project has been made possible with support of many partners. The county government of Machakos, represented here by the governor, I believe, supported us with permits and improvements on the road. The National Treasury, working in conjunction with the Kenya Revenue Authority, supported us through the policy changes needed to make this possible. We had a dedicated team of advisors. We had PwC supporting us through the tax and import consideration. We had ENS Africa supporting us as legal counsel, and Africa Global Logistics through the logistics of having over 100,000 individual component pieces brought in for the assembly. Your Excellency, today we recognize that today is just a start. The board, management, and project team have worked tirelessly over the last few months, but also appreciate that it's not a time yet to rest. There's a lot more that can be done. There's an opportunity to look at exports, an opportunity to look at widening the device specifications locally assembled. We also want to take on the challenge of capturing more of the assembly value chain here in the country by creating opportunities for Kenyans to develop the parts that are needed for the assembly. In summary, Your Excellency, today, while there's work to come, we simply take pride in welcoming you and our distinguished guests and saying, welcome to EDAC, and we look forward to playing our role in the country's digital and economic transformation. Karibu sana, once again.
Thank you very much, sir. And with your permission, Your Excellency, at this point, I would like now to invite the CEO of Safaricom, Mr. Peter Ndegwa, to also make some remarks. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, and I'll do the same, ride on all protocols previously given. So, good morning, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to be here this morning, Your Excellency, as we launch the device assembly plant, which is a first in Kenya, in the way it has been constructed, but also in the way that we have brought it to life. Mobile technology has come a long way since the early 2000s. With the current high mobile penetration of all devices, all kinds of devices, it's hard to imagine a life without one. We have all witnessed and experienced, at a personal level, also at a society level, the transformative power of the mobile phone. However, and that's why we are here, Your Excellency, access to 4G devices, in particular smartphones, that allow individuals to take full advantage of the internet, still remains considerably low. most Kenyans, estimated at more than 60%, are still using feature phones, namely Kamwizi type. This is why we are here today, to change this narrative. As Safaricom, we are about transforming lives, but partnerships are the foundation of the way that we have operated in our past, and that's why we have been successful. We always seek to foster an environment of collaboration to meet the changing needs, expanding customer needs, but also addressing societal challenges. So this partnership with local mobile operators and international device manufacturers is a step in accelerating access to high-quality 4G devices across the country. And this factory can be anywhere in the world, so we are delighted that it is here in Kenya. So our aim in Safaricom is to connect, because of being a mobile operator, up to 20 million customers, or more than 20 million customers, with 4G-enabled devices by 2025. I thought I would have a louder clap for that. We are also here in support of the government digitization agenda, Your Excellency. And we know that that cannot be successful if we do not have smartphones. We believe the smartphone in everyone's hand will act as the pathway to accessing government services and also endless possibilities of the internet. So, Your Excellency, we've enabled Kenyans access the transformative power of technology and the internet. In partnership with Google, which is what I was explaining to you earlier, we offer affordable smartphones payable in installments on a pay-as-you-go basis, which we call Lipa Mdogo Mdogo. And our intention is that, having now started to produce local devices, we will start to undertake pay-as-you-go financing for those who will start buying the local devices. For our case, we have already sold 1 million devices to customers who have benefited since March this year. So the program works, and actually it attracts a lot of people who live in the rural areas and more marginalized population. We have since expanded this initiative and partnered with other manufacturers to include more smartphones, and we will continue to do that, especially now that we are having local devices. And we continue, because this is important. It's not just the device, but it's also the cost of mobile data. We'll continue to reduce the cost of mobile data whilst investing in the network to increase coverage. Fiber network is also important, which we have 14,000 kilometers of fiber coverage. We'll also continue to enhance the digital literacy through partnership, because you have the mobile phone, you have the accessible data, but also you need to allow people to understand how they use the internet for their own benefit. So this assembly plant will have an impact on various sectors of the economy. For instance, healthcare. I'm delighted to say that our first customer of the locally assembled devices is the Ministry of Health. And we are really happy, and I presented a device as a symbolism of to Madam CS, because you are our largest customer and our initial customer. And these devices will be used to support the community health promoters program, which you have launched recently and which will make a big difference. Now, Your Excellency, I wanted just to touch on one or two industry issues. The industry has collectively invested in modern infrastructure that is widespread across the country. To support your government agenda of target of laying 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic across the country, we seek your support in classifying telecommunication infrastructure as critical infrastructure. Today, one of the biggest reasons, I knew that will receive a lot of clap because the audience has a lot of people who work in this industry. Today, most of the network, a large proportion of the network issues we have is because of fiber cuts, especially during road construction. And also when people are constructing new buildings, whether they are commercial or residential, they will put water, they will put access to water and power, but not give access to fiber. So you have to come and do a lot of work post that. So there's a lot of work to be able to allow fiber communication infrastructure to be seen as a core part of the future. So I call on your support in this instance. In addition to that, on the devices in terms of cost, we believe that subsidies are essential is similar to the way that you've delivered the fertilizer subsidy program, in order for us to access cohorts such as women groups, students, any groups that cannot afford. So in addition to financing, we need subsidies. And we know countries like Rwanda are already doing $20 per phone in terms of subsidy. So we will look and work with others, including development partners and private sector players, to support the subsidy agenda, to be able to ensure that no one is left behind. So in conclusion, Safaricom recognizes that technology has the tremendous potential to unlock Kenyans' economic growth, solve society issues, and deepen digital and financial inclusion. We'll continue to collaborate with the government towards projects and initiatives that serve and transform the lives of Kenyans. As I conclude, I want to take opportunity, just like Michael has done, to recognize the efforts of all partners who have been involved in this process today that has led in delivering the first of its kind device assembly plant in Kenya. It is such partnership that will create the opportunities for economic development, leading to improved quality of life. Thank you in particular to the ICT Ministry, in particular the CS and your team, and also from across government who have worked closely to fulfill Your Excellency's promise to establish the local smartphone assembly capacity in Kenya. With those remarks, I thank you for being part of this historic moment, Your Excellency, and thank you very much, and we promise to continue to be partners in this very important agenda. Thank you very much. So it's now my pleasure to invite my counterpart from Jamii Telecom, Chairman Joshua.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, riding on the protocol already observed, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. Before I start my speech, please let me tell you the story so that, for record purposes, because it's an opportunity for you to understand how ideas can work, ideas at work. One afternoon, in the year of the Lord 2022, I invited my friend Peter for a cup of kienyeji tea, locally brewed tea. And we sat down and have various discussions, social issues, industry issues. And in part of the industry issue, we discuss ourselves and say we need to look at ourselves inwardly as a country, and particularly ourselves because we are in a well-placed position as industry leaders to discuss the challenges and solutions that can change and accelerate adaptation of ICT services in the country. We discussed very well. It was a big debate. Luckily enough, we had empirical data. And we finalized and say we need a partner in government. So we were lucky enough to approach His Excellency the President to have a conversation with him on the challenges we face as an industry. And he was courteous enough to be able to give us an appointment one morning, Sunday morning, before his official trip to France. And we were there at 7 o'clock. We sat down with him. We explained the process. And in the process, we agreed that he said, we'll support the government, we'll support you guys. And we kept on discussing vitu matatu. Affordable smartphone, affordable smartphone, affordable smartphone. Ama inaitwa mambo matatu, lakini yetu nilikuwa vitu vitatu. So, Your Excellency, and I think what your leadership, we must congratulate you and thank you for supporting us and believing in us. Your believing in us gives us confidence to think differently as we look at solutions of how we can enable this country. I think nimaja story kidogo sasa, let me go to the written speech. Today marks a transformative moment for Kenya an inflection point in our journey to become a digitally empowered economy. As we unveil our local assembled smartphone, we stand at the cusp of an exciting new era, one that promises unparalleled digital opportunities for all Kenyans. It would be remiss for me not to acknowledge the invaluable role played by His Excellency the President, his forward-thinking government. Their vision, dedication, and unwavering commitments have been the bedrock upon which this initiative was built. Through favorable, timely intervention and astute policy decision, the government has created an environment where ideas like our affordable smartphone device initiative can thrive. These actions echoes a profound understanding that technology is not more than just a tool, but it's a vehicle for progress, a pathway to a brighter future. We embarked on this journey with a clear vision to democratize data and make the dream of digital transformation realizable for every Kenyan, especially considering that today over 60% of mobile subscribers are 2G. And I will give facts. We have 66 million SIM cards. But when some of you have 3 SIM cards for other reason or the other, but averagely it is 2. So we have persons, 33 million, who has a phone. So out of that, 60% of it is Mulika Mwizi, has been Ndegwa as a reference. And so with immense pride, I can say that we are one step closer to that dream. But it's not just about a device, it's about unlocking potential, breaching the digital divide and fostering an inclusion. It's about ensuring that Kenya, irrespective of the economical standing, can access the digital world and the merit opportunity it presents. Power mukononi. EDAC has an installed capacity of producing around 3 million smartphones per year. And I want to assure you, Your Excellency, that not only that we have the capacity to produce the smartphones, 3 million smartphones, with capacity to expand, but we have also capacity to produce routers, wireless access point of sale device, POS, those are POS, tablets, smart meters both for electricity and water, laptops, and many other digital devices. We have that capacity. With flexibility to multiply the capacity, the production capacity, we have ability to meet not only our local demand, but position Kenya as an export to the greater East Africa region. This is the second successful consortium initiative. One first consortium initiative was the issue of the undersea cable. When we walked down in 2009 in partnership with government and all operators, including Telecom Kenya, Safaricom, JTL, Liquid, and which other company? I think those are the major companies which were there. And we able to create a project with ET Salat of United Emirates. We're able to conceptualize a project on an undersea cable. And today, everybody is bringing undersea cable, but the insurance for the Republic is the team's cable. Your Excellency, the other thing that I want to mention is that recently I saw you visiting Congo Brazzaville. Nataka hata kidogo ukienda huko upeange sawadi, give out sawadi your phone, so we make sure that you constantly supply you, ndio ukionyesha hao nasema ukiona hii ni mzuri, I will show you the place pole pole. I know you are our biggest marketer, Your Excellency, and I believe in you that you will be able to help us. The ripple effect of this initiative are boundless, from e-learning to telemedicine, from online business to digital banking, e-government services. This smartphone will empower individuals, invigorate business, inject fresh momentum in our national digital transformation strategies. We are also creating employment and positively impacting the community. We forge ahead to create this reality. We must be cognizant of the threat of cheap illegal imports, the potential to slow down or reverse the gains we strive for. We appeal to the government through the relevant government agencies to help us seal the loopholes that allows for entry of these devices into our market. We must deal with this threat very decisively for us to realize the full benefit of this venture. Your Excellency, unajua tunasikia, we listen to its stories. We have been told some come to some countries. I don't want to be specific to the country. And they do panya routes. And they paid around, by phone, 50 cents US dollars without avoiding paying duty. It is very unfortunate. And we are willing as an industry to work together with relevant authorities to see whether we can adapt a technological approach or we can work with information system, because at the end of the day is that we have ability in our networks to identify the IME number of the devices. So we can really work together with KRA and the Ministry of ICT to be able to develop a long-lasting solution so that we can close these panya routes. Allow me, Your Excellency, before I reach the conclusion, to take also this opportunity to thank all our service providers who has worked very hard, including the main contractors. I might not be able to name them, our employees, the technical team led by Mutiga and Cyrus, Sam, and Caro, and the legal team, the whole team, in behalf of, and the entire board for working day and night to make sure that we are able to have a factory ready for you to open today. In conclusion, on behalf of East Africa Device Assembly Consortium, I express my heartfelt gratitude to His Excellency the President, his government, every individual who has been instrumental in bringing this vision to life. Together, we are ushering a new digital age for Kenya, catalyzing progress and laying the groundwork for a brighter, more connected future for all. Kabla sijasema ya mwisho, unajua, these things is very historical because it happens once in lifetime, and if you miss it, something else will turn. You know, hii minister, Your Excellency, I don't know if I nini, alisumbua sisi, anakuja factory, anasema hii kitu kani, we are opening this day, you happen, tunaambia ngoja kidogo, enda ambia mzuri, ambia mzee Excellency Paul. So, thank you, Waziri, for what you did. Your push delivered the factory. The other people I want to congratulate also from, if we have the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury, Njuguna, Professor Njuguna and Dr. Chris Kipto, they facilitated a lot in terms of what we were doing. In fact, when we had a big challenge in terms of publication of East Africa digital remission scheme, we worked tirelessly with them and it was effective. The other person I want to thank is my friend, who is our chairman in the industry, Mary Wamboi. Thank you very much for coming, Madam. So, to close, unajua sasa sababu tumeongea Kiswahili. Unajua, Your Excellency, you are better than us because, you know, we don't practice all the time. Sasa nasema, thank you all. Asanteni sana. Mungu ibariki Kenya. And this, ibariki Kenya na ibariki Uchina, because it's of our partnership. With those few remarks, may I kindly to invite our Honorable Cabinet Minister for Information, Communication and Digital Economy to the podium. Thank you.
Allow me to invite my cabinet colleague, Susan Nakumicha, CS Health, to say something because she's an integral stakeholder in the rollout of these affordable digital devices. Karibu, madam.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, my cabinet colleague, Cabinet Eliud Owalo, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to join you today in this momentous occasion for IDAC. And I stand before you as the first customer of IDAC. Your Excellency, allow me to demonstrate that before we got this gadget previously, our community health promoters used to walk around with a bag with these registers. I have carried 2 because I was not able to carry the 5 that they used to carry. Now, this 5, Your Excellency, has been reduced to this gadget. I am the most happiest on this day. Your Excellency, each of these registers used to record different information. Now, this gadget, we have an application called eKais that is carrying all the information that used to be collected in these 5 registers. This is transformative, not just for the country, not just for the Ministry of Health, but for the world, I believe. Your Excellency, having acquired these gadgets locally, we were able to go around. You know, our procurement rules, Your Excellency, it would take forever for the ministry to procure 100,000 gadgets. But working together with Safaricom, in less than 2 months, we were able to get these gadgets. And that is the benefit of working with locally assembled products. Your Excellency, we were able to cut down on the costs. From what we were getting in the open market, we were able to cut down by about 30%. So we had value for money, Your Excellency. But for me, Your Excellency, the most important that we achieved from buying locally assembled products. If we had gone to the open market, there are some things that we would not have been able to put on this phone. For example, it wouldn't have come with our application. But now, these phones are being delivered to us with the application that is specifically for healthcare, the eKais application, Your Excellency. As if that is not enough, we are working together with our partner Safaricom to ensure that these gadgets are geofenced, so that then the community health promoters are able to work within the area that they have been allocated, and they are able to serve the households. Your Excellency, it used to take forever for the information from the registers to be passed from one level of service point to the national level. But with them collecting data on this gadget, Your Excellency, each day at the ministry level, we are able to see what each community health promoter has done. This is a game changer for the Ministry of Health, and I want to thank Safaricom for the continued partnership. I'm told in marketing, I believe it's one of the biggest costs for Safaricom. But now you have 100,000 marketers. I believe as a ministry, we should be able to benefit with something from Safaricom for being the marketing agents for Safaricom. With those few remarks, thank you very much, Your Excellency, and congratulations to IDAC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Waziri. So, Your Excellency, all protocols observed, today is a great day for this country. It's a great day for this country, Your Excellency, because of your dream of getting affordable devices to facilitate inclusivity in the digitalization agenda has been achieved. I remember one time earlier on in the tenure of your government, Your Excellency, when you tasked us to oversee operationalization of your digital superhighway agenda. I asked you where we are going to get the money from to roll out these programs. And your answer is very simple, that Eliud, you don't need money, because as government, our role is not to compete with the private sector in business. The business of government is not to compete with the private sector, but to create an enabling policy, legal, and regulatory framework for the private sector to thrive. And based on that guidance, Your Excellency, we have worked through and through with the private sector in partnership to roll out our digital transformation agenda. When it comes to fiber, rollout of the 100,000 kilometers of fiber, we have worked with the private sector. Digitalization of government services, we have worked with the private sector. Rollout of the free Wi-Fi hotspots, we are now in partnership with private sector ISP service providers. So I want to thank you for that guidance, close monitoring, and tutelage, without which we would not have gotten this far. In pursuit of this digitalization agenda, Your Excellency, there has been a missing gap. The missing gap has been the device. Connectivity is only meaningful if there is universal access, Your Excellency. And in this regard, I want to thank most sincerely EDAC for helping us as government to close the gap so that we can at long last have affordable smartphone devices in the hands of the wider Kenyan population. In the same vein, Your Excellency, I want to most sincerely thank you because as far as this digitalization agenda is concerned, you have led from the front. This is a major change program in government, Your Excellency. And anytime you are introducing change, people will always be resistant. Had it not been for your persistence and leadership, transformational leadership, we would not have gotten this far as our digitalization agenda is concerned. And for that, as a ministry, we owe you a great debt of gratitude. May I also, with your permission, Your Excellency, just recognize the invaluable input of a few individuals with whom we have worked very closely in pushing this agenda. I want to mention PS Engineer John Tandui. He has been a key cog in our digitalization agenda. In the same vein, allow me to mention PS Bitok. Without consultations and partnership with the Ministry of Interior through the State Department that PS Bitok heads, we would not have made much progress in our digitalization agenda, Your Excellency. I also want to mention PS Professor Edward Kisangani and all the CEOs under his ministry, especially the Communications Authority of Kenya, under able leadership of the chair here, Mary Wambui. She has also helped us facilitate an enabling framework from a regulatory perspective as far as the telecommunication sector is concerned. With those many remarks, Your Excellency, it is my distinguished honor and privilege to invite you to come and talk to the congregation. Thank you very much. Let's all be upstanding.
Eliud, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Distinguished leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Yeah, good afternoon actually. We've just crossed the line. Let me first say how happy and grateful I am that today we are here in Mavoko on this very important occasion. Let me confirm that actually one Sunday, 11 months ago, I had a conversation in the morning with two gentlemen, Peter Ndegwa and Joshua Chepkony, on the big subject that we had all canvassed during the election about the digital space in our country, what technology would do, and how we can work together. They told me, Mr. President, all you have said is very good, but you will have one challenge, that this digitalization and digitization and technology journey has the challenge of the number of people who have smartphones. And they told me, unless you sort out the question of smartphones, and not just the availability, but the affordability of the smartphone, you will continue to experience challenges in that space. And they told me they would do something about it, but they needed the support of government. And I did promise them then that because it was my priority agenda to make sure that every Kenyan has an opportunity to interact with technology and to benefit from the journey of digitization, that I would go out of my way. I did request them to invest. And thank you, gentlemen, for investing. That is the power of the private sector. But I told them, as they invest, as government, we're going to play our role. We're going to make sure that there is a fiscal environment, a business environment that supports investment. We did work with the Treasury, both on the local fiscal requirements and even the East African ones, as Joshua has said. And on top of that, I told them I will do the two things. I will make sure that government policy is supportive, and I also promise them that government will lead the way in being a market for your product. I am very proud that, gentlemen, you can confirm that I have kept my part of the bargain. I not only have provided the policy environment and necessary incentive for you to invest, but as my CS Health has said, we became the first customer, and we have bought from you 100,000 tablets that will be used by our community health promoters. And therefore, one of the most important commitments of my administration under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda is to transform inclusion by taking every possible measure to ensure that every citizen has an opportunity to make their contribution to national growth and development, and also, in many ways, to benefit from that transformation. Accordingly, the plan has laid down the strategic framework of Kenyans to pursue their livelihoods and vocations more profitably and to access highly improved government services more conveniently and more affordably. So far, the response has been strong and encouraging. More land, for example, this year, was put under cultivation in this year's season, and more farmers received subsidized fertilizer and other inputs, and including extension services on a digital platform. For the first time, we managed to cut out brokers. We managed to cut out cartels who normally gave us so much problem whenever we had a subsidy program. They would buy subsidized fertilizer, repackage, and go and sell it. But this time round, technology helped us to deal with them. And they must be very sad people because they never got a chance to pilferage our fertilizer. And as a result, we have this year's maize harvest, for example, is going to be 15 million bags more than last year. Similarly, millions of hustlers have been able to register with the Hustler Financial Inclusion Fund and received affordable credit that is not necessarily secured by anything other than their ability and their credit rating in terms of how they pay. And they can now grow their credits, grow their businesses, and meet other financial needs. At the same time, we are now able to provide Kenyan learners all the way from early childhood development and education stage to the tertiary levels of university, various colleges and institutes, as well as technical and vocational education and training, with financial support and capitation in order to improve the quality of facilities, provide more teachers, improve the curriculum, and make education affordable in our institutions of learning. I was having a conversation with CS Machogu on the applications that now are online for all our children who are, all our students who are going to our TVETs and our universities. We had to work with the technology providers to make sure that it expanded the capacity for the hundreds of thousands of learners who are applying. And I am very confident and I'm very happy that technology has made many things easy, affordable, efficient, transparent, and accountable. Our universal health coverage, as was said ably by CS here, is off to a very brilliant start with the recent launch of the Community Health Promoter System, which will provide preventive and promotive health services at the grassroots countrywide and facilitate diagnostic and early detection of conditions requiring curative attention to Kenyans from the comfort of their homes and in all instances free of charge. All these interventions have made unprecedented progress in expanding inclusion, enabling previously marginalized groups and households who are typically the most vulnerable and in need of these opportunities, both in terms of participation and contribution, as well as receiving support and benefits. More households are now involved in gainful economic activity in various sectors, and as the bottom-up economic transformation agenda gets underway properly, this positive change will begin to demonstrate manifest progress. If what CS Nakumicha is anything to go by, we are shedding off a lot of baggage and a lot of unnecessary paperwork and a lot of cumbersome processes and making it simpler because of the benefit of technology and because of digitization. The provision of various services and opportunities to Kenyans has relied on finding the most efficient means of expanding access and enhancing inclusion, devising the best modalities of guaranteeing security and reliability, and formulating the most effective instruments of evaluating the nature and extent of need and fixing it using technology, digitization, and building of networks. Our farmers interact with extension services without leaving their homes or farms because extension officers facilitate them to register and submit relevant data to update their input, what type of mechanization they want, what kind of diseases they encounter, and what kind of pest control measures that would make them much more productive, as well as all other needs. Similarly, the National Education Management Information System constantly updates relevant information about every learner and their socioeconomic background to ensure that the means testing instruments remain accurate and reliable in determining the learner's level of financial and other needs. The Hustler Fund has been able to serve millions of Kenyans from all walks of life, especially and consistently and conveniently and repeatedly lending billions of shillings in unsecured loans and recovering it without need for drastic, expensive, or time-consuming procedures. We are going to celebrate 1 year anniversary of the Hustler Fund shortly, maybe next month. And we have wonderful stories. In fact, I had an occasion last week. You can see my hair is newly shaved. So my barber came to do some work on what is left of my hair. And in the process, he asked me, Mr. President, you know, my savings on the Hustler Fund is now 5,600. Why is it the case that my limit is still at 5,000? Why don't you consider the fact that I have saved 5,000? Why don't you increase my limit? And it was a fundamental question. I have since put that question to the CS. I have put that question to Safaricom. I have put that question to all the other stakeholders in that space. because we need to answer that gentleman, because the next time he comes to visit me, I need to have answers for him. I was very honest with him. I didn't have an answer at that point. So, I mean, there are many Kenyans out there who truly know what it means to have access to affordable credit and how much difference it makes for their businesses. We have also transformed the provision of public services by making it possible for Kenyans to access them online through their mobile devices. Community health, agricultural extension support, Hustler Fund, and the National Education Management Information System are not only the only services whose provision has been transformed by digitization and automation. The government has increased the number of public services accessible through digital services to over 13,000, freeing up the people to concentrate on their lives and livelihoods and go about their business without the necessity of queuing, the necessity of traveling to try and access government services. And I must congratulate the Ministry of ICT working with the Ministry of Interior for what they are doing around that space. I did agree with them. I gave them some timelines on where we needed to move. I think many people did not believe that it was possible to move government services substantially to be available on the digital space. We had only 320 government services a year ago. Today we have 13,000, and we are well on course in making sure that by the end of this year or shortly thereafter, all government services will be available online. Already, the digital ID, which has been a big problem to us for a very long time, is now on a testing mode for the next 2 months. I have been assured by all the stakeholders, led by the ministries concerned, that by December, we will be able to launch digital ID, where every Kenyan don't have to carry any paper, plastic or otherwise, as an ID, that they should be able to be identified digitally using their iris or their fingerprints, and we can transact without the necessity of people struggling to identify who they are. And the proudest part of it is that we don't have to spend the billions that we have spent on all the other manenos, as all of you know. We recognize that this digital transformation will be sustained by significantly reducing the cost of digital access throughout the country. This is why our digital superhighway strategy is critical for national socio-economic transformation. And in the first instance, we want Kenyans to access services efficiently through fast, secure, and affordable digital connectivity from the comfort of their homes and households. Secondly, we want more Kenyans to access opportunities to develop careers in the digital technology space by having the chance to innovate, research, develop, and collaborate even when they are based back home in the village or any mtaa for that matter. Thirdly, it is time to usher in Kenyans in their millions fully into the promise and possibilities of the local, regional, and global digital economy. The establishment of last-mile fiber optic and local connectivity infrastructure, as well as the development of grassroots digital hubs, go a long way towards enriching the Kenyan experience of a transformed government services and digital economy. We're aware that the cost of smart devices remain prohibitive for many, and that as a result constitute a significant barrier to universal inclusion and access to various services and opportunities that are intended to be freely available otherwise. To overcome this critical challenge to the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, we identified the production of affordable smart digital devices as one urgent priority, as I said earlier, that will guarantee the possibility of universal digital access for the people of Kenya to enjoy more and better services and opportunities in both public and the private spaces. The provision of affordable digital smart devices is no longer just about mobile telephony and fintech penetration. It is also about universal access to private and public sector goods and services as the driver of national transformation. It is not possible for transformation to be at the rate, at the scale, and at the speed that we want unless we have the devices to assist us unlock that potential. We have pledged to support this development by providing infrastructure that will spur digital signatures and the implementation of digital national identity. This message here is that this time round, we are going digital in full, on a large scale, across every sector, because Kenya's transformation is going to be a digital transformation. It is just simply put that way. This event, therefore, has far greater significance in terms of enhancing digital experience for millions of Kenyans. The launch of a locally assembled smart device is a brilliant milestone in and of itself, but its broader implications for both public and private sector efficiency, integrity, and security that will bring out its significance in full is what we are waiting to experience. I congratulate the investors, and as I said, two fundamental things, maybe more, are going to be achieved by this device. When I see 300 Kenyans employed in this facility that will produce 3 million devices, and those 3 million devices will be 30% cheaper than if we had imported them complete as units. So we have the benefit of jobs for our young people, and we have the benefit of a much more affordable product. I was also able to persuade these two gentlemen and the other investors to preload eCitizen, the platform upon which we are delivering government services, on the phones, so that every Kenyan who buys this phone will have government services ready on the phone, and they don't have to go looking for it. Please, gentlemen, muliniambia pale, please. Si tunakubaliana vile tumekubaliana. So mambo mawili tumekubaliana na hawa wangwana. Sio yale matatu, ni mawili. Tumekubaliana ya kwanza ile faida, tulikubaliana na hawa jamaa ya kwamba mambo ya simu ambayo mwananchi wa kawaida anaweza kununua kwa gharama ambayo inatoshana na mwananchi, na simu ambayo inaweza kutumika kama smartphone. Wananchi wengi vile mmesikia hapa, asilimia karibu 70 wananunua simu ya mulikamwizi kwa sababu ya gharama ya simu. Lakini hiyo mulikamwizi haiwezi kufanya mambo mengi ambayo mwananchi wa kawaida angetaka afanye. Haiwezi kuwa na data, haiwezi kuwa na nini, ni inasumbua. Sasa inakuwa tu ni simu ya kupiga simu kwa voice ama makelele. So sasa tunataka kuhamisha, tupeleke katika hatua ya pili. Na kupitia kwa kiwanda hii ambayo imetengenezwa hapa, ya kwanza tumepata ajira ya vijana wa taifa letu la Kenya ajira ambayo ilikuwa mahali pengine ambazo hizi simu zinatengenezwa. Jambo la pili, tumepata simu kwa bei ambayo ni 30% chini ya ile equivalent simu ambayo tungenunua. Ya tatu, sasa tunaweza kucustomize hii simu. Nimesema hii simu ambayo sasa tumelaunch leo ni smartphone. Bei yake vile niliwaeleza wa Kenya ni $50. Nilikuwa nimebagain na hawa jamaa $40, wameniambia lazima iwe $50 kwa sababu wameweka data pia huko ndani. Kwa sababu wananiambia hii simu smartphone haitakuwa ya faida kama uko na simu ambaye kazi yake tu ni wewe kupiga makelele ya voice. Wakaniambia lazima tuweke $10 ya data ndio isaidie, so that we can unlock the full potential of a smartphone. It's good to have the phone, but it's also better if you have it with the data that is going to support the usability of this phone. Because it's not just a phone like Mulikamwizi where you make voice calls. And namba ya tatu, namba 4 nimekubaliana na wao leo asubuhi, nimewashawishi ya kwamba watuwekee e-citizen kwa hii simu, ili mwananchi akinunua hii simu tayari e-citizen iko hapo, anaweza kutafuta na kufikia services ama huduma ya serikali. Ile gava mkononi sasa itakuwa ndani ya hii simu as a standard. Na nambari ya 3, mumesikia ya kwamba kuna nchi zingine wako na mbinu ya vile ya kuhakikisha kwamba tunarahisisha wananchi wengi waweze kufikia kununua hii simu na kufaidika na ile services yote iko ndani ya hiyo simu na capacities ya hiyo simu. So tumekubaliana na hawa wangwana tena warudi wapange mawazo yao na ideas na wasaidiane na wizara yetu ili kufikia Januari tuende katika hatua ingine. Kwanza iwezekane kwamba mwananchi anaweza kulipa deposit ya hiyo simu na alipe ile Peter ananiambia kulipa mdogo mdogo. So hii simu ambayo ni ya karibu shilingi 7,500 kuanzia Januari tunataka iwezekane mwananchi alipe deposit ya 1,000 na hiyo ingine alipe polepole shilingi 20 kila siku tukienda mbele. Ndio wananchi wengi waweze kulipa hii simu. Mimi nataka nimwambie Bwana Owalo na timu yake ya CA na hawa wengine, nyinyi mweza mwende mfikirie vile tutapunguza hii bei tena. Mwende mfikirie what kind of collaboration we are going to work, ili mwananchi wa kawaida hii simu ya 7,000 tuweze, kama tunaweza kuteremusha tena ikuje shilingi 2,000 ama 3,000 hapo mbele, na tutajua vile tutashirikiana, kwa sababu tunataka simu ambayo itamwezesha mwananchi afanye biashara, mwananchi aendelee na communication, mwananchi apate services ya serikali ndani yake, na tuweze kurahisisha biashara, kurahisisha huduma ya serikali, na sio lazima mtu aende kwa ofisi fulani ama aone mtu fulani. Tunaweza kufanya kazi yetu vile tunaendesha biashara ya kukopesha pesa kwa Hustler Fund. Hakuna mtu anakutana na mwenzake, hakuna committee, hakuna ofisi ya kwenda. Committee ni simu na mwenyewe, finish, tunasonga mbele. That's how it should be, and that's how we want to deliver government services going into the future. So I have said I congratulate all the investors, my good friends in Safaricom, Jamii Telecom, our friends from China. Congratulations, the representative is here. Asante sana. You have already made your mark and claimed your place in the history of Kenya's transformation. I encourage you to sustain this momentum of innovation in order to support and deepen a culture of digital enterprise, research and development in our country, and in order to deliver the dream of Africa's Silicon Savannah and the power of actualization of our development agenda. This plant affirms our credentials as a global digital economy powerhouse and Silicon Savannah's Africa hub for innovation and everything technology. I appeal to more investors to take similar decisive action because opportunity still abounds. Just on this factory alone, we can create many more factories. We can create many more suppliers locally. And I insist, deliberately locally. I have said that we must be intentional, we must be deliberate about growing our manufacturing opportunities, capacity, and potential in Kenya. As I said, and we put it in the budget, we also put the interventions that have enabled this factory in the budget, that we must grow our local manufacturing capabilities, whether it is in cement, in steel, in timber products, in technology space, it must be intentional. I am very happy also that the conversation I have had with IDAC is that they want us to market these products beyond Kenya. I want to assure you that I will lead the charge in making sure that the products we get out of this factory, the products we get from all our other factories have access not just to the Kenyan market, but to the regional market, to the international market as well. Because we can make the finest of products. I am already getting information that our collaborators, the collaborators of Safaricom and Jamii Telecom in this, are already saying the human capital in Kenya is first class. And we have said that before. So we want to deploy this great human capital to get the products that we can use to drive our own transformation, our job creation, our export-led economy, and be able to grow our economy in that context. We have a pool of talent, as I have said, and human capital available on this side of the world, and a government that is ready and that is ready to support initiatives that expand access and create jobs. And we want to make devices even cheaper using means like the Universal Service Fund and other interventions. And I am happy that the people in charge of Universal Service Fund are here. You have heard my pronouncement. Please work with industry so that that universal fund becomes truly universal by making it possible for more Kenyans to access these devices. I know when I mentioned in one meeting, I attended a meeting of Kenya Chamber of Commerce. And I told them that we were working on a program where we will end up with a $40, $50 device. Many people there were skeptical, like it is always, you know, because that is how we are. But I want to persuade you that the power of vision and the power of faith cannot be replaced by anything else. You know, we have many people who, whenever they hear me speak about the future of Kenya, they say, oh, William Ruto has made another promise. I made a commitment about the device, these phones. It looked like a promise. Today it's reality. And it is because of the power of vision and the power of faith. So, you know, it's very difficult for people to see as far as what the vision entails. Many people look at today, at best tomorrow. Yeah? And that is how we have so many Thomases in between. Who, you remember the story of Jesus and the people who had told him, oh, Jesus, you know, has risen from the death and from the dead. And Thomas was saying, ah, no, you are scanning. Let me, huyo mtu ati munasema ati ule alikuwa amechomwa na mkuki ati ameamuka. Hebu niguze mahali alikuwa amechomwa. You know, so that's where we are. But I want to promise you, the same way Jesus rose, we are going to take this country to the next level. And that is the power of having a vision and driving our country, knowing very well that even in the context of where we are, we must never be distracted by the challenges that we have. We must see them as an encouragement to where we want to get as a nation, because we must get there. Kenya is a great nation. Kenya is a great country, a country of tremendous potential. And this time round, we must get it right. And we must take Kenya wherever we want it. And we are going to make the decisions, however difficult, that will take Kenya where we all want. Because when I listen to Kenyans, they know where this country should be. The only problem we have is sometimes we don't have the courage to make the decisions that will take us there. When the president of Singapore visited us, and we all celebrate Singapore, we say, you know, Singapore is a great country, almost 90% of their population, everybody has a house. It is moved from, it was the same category as Kenya a few years ago. Today, it is in the first world. When I spoke to the president of Singapore, he told me they made very difficult decisions. In fact, the minister who was in charge of their housing program, the program they are very proud of today, their signature program globally of housing, the minister hanged himself when he made the wrong decision. And so many people were forced to go into modern houses. They were very happy living in slums, because many of them, I'm told, they were complaining, if you move us to this very smart slum, very smart flats on 10th floor, 15th floor, where are we going to make our changa and our busa, because we are used to making them in the slums? And that was in Singapore. Mnanielewa? So, good people, we must change this country. I don't think we have another option. Yeah? And the young people who are pushing us, we have millions of Kenyans, talented, hardworking, educated. They are looking for opportunity. We cannot postpone their future. We must make the decisions now to enable them get the opportunities tomorrow. And I promise you one thing. I will make all the decisions necessary to make Kenya the great country we all want it to be. Without a doubt. Finally, I like the mantra, power mkononi, or that's what this good gentleman told me. It fits perfectly with what we are all trying to achieve. A more empowered digital population with a capacity to explore all opportunities. Asanteni sana. I wish you well. And even to my media guys, my friends, the good people who write many stories about me and all the other stories, and they are very good people because they are creative, they are innovative, you know, in what they do. I think I still see you guys with the iPads. You know, they are a bit old-fashioned. Not iPads, but, you know, writing pads. Now, this factory here can make for you digital pads. You know? Ndio muweze kuandika ile story. Digital pads. And muendelee kuandika tu story. This is good. It is okay. It's good for us. That's what society is made of. And you will never hear me complaining about your stories. Write them. Ile ya ukweli tutaendelea kusoma. Ile ambayo iko na maneno imeongezwa kachumbari tutasoma pia. Lakini we will stay focused because we must take the country where we all want it to be. And they are also making a contribution towards keeping us on the straight and narrow. Ile kitu tu mnawauliza, kwa sababu sasa tumewatengenezea factory hapa itawapatia digital pads. Hata mimi mnikumbuke wakati mna tangaza dividends kwa mwisho wa mwaka, hata mimi mtumie kidogo. At least nimewapangia kakitu, si ndio? So because we need a whole of society approach, and we must, this is our society, and every part of our society matters in making us a wholesome nation. Congratulations to all of you. My very best wishes to the investors in this facility, and I look forward to many more. I know there is a whole chain. We want now the parts that we are currently importing. The next stage is for us to manufacture many of the parts here in Kenya so that we create more industries to work with this as a value chain. And we must target that at least in the next 5 years, every Kenyan must carry a smartphone. And